How the cachet of the WNBA elevates. Remember, it could have been even better. You messed it up.
Did the WNBA just make the single biggest mistake in its history? Think about that for a second. The league's golden ticket, Caitlin Clark, wasn't just supposed to be another star. She was supposed to be the future, the face of the brand, the one player who could finally carry women's basketball into the mainstream spotlight after decades of struggle. For the first time ever, casual fans who had never watched a WNBA game were tuning in, buying tickets, wearing jerseys with her name on them. She was bigger than just basketball. She was a cultural phenomenon. But here's where things get insane. Instead of protecting her, supporting her, and building the league around her, the WNBA seems to have done the exact opposite. What should have been a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to elevate the sport has turned into a nightmare. And now, reports are flying that Caitlin Clark is seriously considering leaving for Europe, walking away from the league that promised to embrace her. If that happens, the consequences could shake the WNBA to its very core. Because here's the truth. If Caitlin Clark leaves, it's not just one player walking away. It's the collapse of everything the league has been trying to build.
Nonsense about things that Caitlin was doing wrong when, in my personal opinion, she was doing nothing but going out there and playing great basketball every night and ignoring the hate that was coming to her from all sides. Not only fact that she was getting all of that, yet all of these eyeballs were coming to the league because of her. They were turning, the Indiana Fever was turning away games.
She will do her best. I know she's talented, but she's not strong enough and she doesn't have enough experience right now to compete at.
From the very beginning, the WNBA marketed Caitlin Clark like she was their savior. The ticket sales were undeniable. The broadcasts were breaking records. Suddenly, ESPN was giving primetime coverage to a league that used to struggle to get any national attention at all. Clark was the headline attraction, the broadcast magnet, the one who could finally bring casual fans into the fold. Every time she stepped onto the court, numbers spiked. The Indiana Fever, a team that had been irrelevant for years, was suddenly selling out arenas. Away games turned into mini home games for Clark. Fans didn't care about the local team, they just wanted to see her. She was the draw. She was the story. She was the brand. But here's the insane part. While the league hyped her up on social media, in promos, and in every commercial break, when it came time to actually protect her on the court, they went completely missing. Game after game, Clark became the target of relentless physical play. And this wasn't normal rookie hazing. This was next level. Elbows to the ribs. Hard fouls that bordered on dangerous. Cheap shots after the whistle. Opponents made it clear. They weren't just playing her, they were trying to intimidate her. And instead of stepping in, instead of cracking down, instead of making an example out of the players who went too far, the league let it slide. Analysts on TV didn't call it out for what it was. Instead, they blamed her. They said she needed to toughen up. Opponents were praised for being physical, for being old-school tough. The irony? The same league that plastered Clark's face all over every highlight package, every advertisement, and every social media push was now standing by silently while she was being bullied out of games. And fans noticed. Oh, did they notice? Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. The outrage exploded everywhere. Fans posted slow-motion clips of Clark getting hammered with no calls. They asked why the league's most important player was being treated like disposable talent. They demanded answers. But still, the league did nothing.
What the NBA became. Even when Jordan was ascending and the league clearly saw that that was the dude, and Nike was marketing the living hell out of Michael Jordan. I want to be like Mike. It was still burden match.
And this wasn't just about hard fouls. It went way deeper. This was about respect. Or in Caitlin Clark's case, the complete lack of it. Clark wasn't treated like a superstar. She wasn't treated like the player carrying the weight of the entire brand on her back. No, she was treated like a rookie sideshow. A novelty act that opponents could rough up for fun and the league could cash in on without giving anything back in return. Fans saw the pattern. Players from rival teams went out of their way to dismiss her achievements. Some veterans threw shade in interviews, suggesting Clark hadn't earned it yet. The media piled on, spinning narratives that painted her as entitled, overhyped, or simply lucky. And through all of this, the WNBA's silence was deafening. They didn't step in to defend her. They didn't enforce stricter officiating. They didn't protect their investment. Instead, They sat back and watched as the very foundation of their future started to crumble. But here's where it gets even more shocking. The disrespect didn't stop at what happened on the court. It bled into every part of her experience in the league. Caitlin Clark wasn't just a basketball player. She was a movement. The Caitlin Clark effect was real, and the numbers prove it. In just a few months, she boosted ticket sales by nearly double. She turned local arenas into sellouts. National broadcasts saw record spikes whenever she was on the schedule. Merch sales skyrocketed. Social media engagement exploded. This was the type of growth leagues dream about. And it was all because of one player. Without Caitlin Clark, the WNBA loses far more than just a star guard. They lose their marketing engine, their viewership anchor, their golden ticket. And here's the brutal truth. No one else in the league right now has her draw. Sure, there are talented players, Angel Reese, DJ Carrington, others. But let's be honest, they don't pull the same numbers. They don't capture the same mainstream attention. And here's the part that stings the most. This entire disaster was preventable.
Watching women's basketball right now, It all started from the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, like, yeah, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me.
The WNBA had every chance to secure Caitlin Clark's future. They could have stepped up, offered her a groundbreaking deal, built the league around her the way the NBA built around Jordan and LeBron. But instead, they fumbled it. There was no massive contract, no symbolic gesture, no show of loyalty to prove how much they valued her. Instead, they let her walk. And now, the consequences are devastating. For a league that has been fighting for decades to be taken seriously, to finally break into mainstream relevance, losing Clark at this exact moment is catastrophic. They didn't just lose a player, they lost their shot at legitimacy. And if Caitlin's gone, she won't be the last. Clark's potential move overseas isn't happening in isolation. She's not the only one looking for better opportunities. Already, players like Kelsey Mitchell and Nalissa Smith are spending their off-seasons in China. More and more stars are realizing they don't need the WNBA to thrive. Why would they stay when Europe and Asia are offering bigger salaries, better treatment, and fewer games? Overseas, they're celebrated like royalty. At home, they're barely noticed. For the first time in history, the WNBA is at risk of being outshined not just by the NBA, but by international leagues. And this exodus is only beginning. So where does women's basketball go from here?
Making a basketball argument. You were making a basketball argument.
We're not saying we were making a basketball
No, Andrea, I'm not going to let you do that.
Go ahead,
Andrea, I'm not going to let you make it seem like Caitlin Clark was averaging 5 points a game. At the time, she was still averaging 16 points a game, which was more than a lot of other guards that made the team. So don't do that. Don't make it seem like she was averaging 5 points and this was like a handout. Her numbers... Look at her numbers comparable to the other guards that were on the team. That's all.
Some analysts, like Jason Whitlock, have floated the idea of an unrivaled league, a new US-based competition that runs during the WNBA's offseason. Imagine it, the best of the best, all in one place, competing for real money and real recognition. Players wouldn't need to fly to Europe or China just to make a living. They could do it right here in America. It's a bold idea, and with the way things are going, it might be the only way to keep top stars from permanently leaving. Because make no mistake, if Caitlin Clark thrives in Europe, others will follow. And once the dominoes start falling, there may be no stopping the collapse. But even with all those possibilities, one thing is crystal clear. Caitlin Clark's decision to leave the WNBA, whether temporary or permanent, is more than just a transfer. It's a wake-up call, a warning shot, a reminder that talent doesn't have to settle for less when there are better options on the table. The WNBA had the chance of a lifetime to build its empire around a once-in-a-generation star. And instead of protecting her, they mishandled her. Instead of celebrating her, they let others tear her down. Instead of fighting to keep her, they let her slip away. Now, Europe will crown her as its superstar. She'll walk into packed arenas, treated like basketball royalty. She'll make more money, play fewer games, and extend her career while building a global brand. Meanwhile, the WNBA is left scrambling. Sponsors are nervous. Fans are furious. And the league itself is forced to ask the question it's been avoiding for months. What happens when your only true superstar decides she's had enough? Because whether you like Caitlin Clark or not, one truth is undeniable. The day she leaves, the WNBA will never be the same.